Shams reporting free agent center Mitchell Robinson has agreed to a 3-year, $47.4 million deal to sign with the Boston Celtics. He's got a player option in the third season after leading the Knicks to a championship in a role player position. He is now moving on to the Boston Celtics. David, your reaction?
I mean, it was great what he did with the Knicks, and it was time for them to part. I don't really know what this means for the Celtics till we figure out what the Jaylen Brown trade looks like. It seems like this is more signaling of him being out very soon, but we just do not know what that roster is going to look like around Mitchell Robinson. I don't think he is a starter level center that's going to be that much of a difference maker on the squad, but I also don't know what kind of difference maker Boston is going to make overall until we see the package they get for Jaylen Brown.
This is a pretty interesting move by the Celtics. The Celtics needed center help. They've been thin at the frontline position since they had to lose Al Horford and they traded away Kristaps Porzingis last year. And they've signaled that they want Nimi Keita, their terrific pickup from a couple of years ago at low money, to be their future center. And so they bring in Mitchell Robinson, I think, here as a backup. And this is a quality signing for a backup position here. This is the mid-level contract, mid-level salary. It's about what he was making last year, give or take a little bit of money, and he's obviously proven that he can be very impactful. The Celtics have immense respect for him because last year when they played in the playoffs, Joe Mazzulla's central game plan was to foul the heck out of him to get him off the court. They believe that Mitchell Robinson is a very important player, so they're backing it up here with with this move. Now, they have, in the past, guys, they have wanted to have at least one center who can stretch the floor. That's why they went out and got Porzingis. That's why they kept Horford. That's why they went out and traded for Nikola Vucevic last year. Vucevic actually signed with the Magic this morning. So this will be two centers. Keita didn't make a three-pointer last year, and you're certainly not having Mitchell Robinson take a shot from more than 3 or 4 feet from the basket. So this is leaning into pretty much always having a non-shooter on the court. But beyond that, it is, look, a lot has been said about analytics and the Boston Celtics in recent days. The analytics of the Boston Celtics department believes that Mitchell Robinson is an analytical star because they made it a central part of their game plan to get him off the court. So I'm sure they're pretty pleased with this move, not only getting him, but also taking him away from the Knicks, who follow Jim Dolan's words and do not go into the second apron. They right now only have about $8 million they could have offered him. This is not quite double that, but pretty close. And so this is what happens. You win a championship and you draw a line at your spending. Sometimes you lose role players.
That's the thing that fascinates me about all this. So many people are going to be disappointed that Mitchell Robinson will no longer be a New York Knick and going to the hated Boston Celtics. Like, on its face, you're looking at Mitchell Robinson, you're saying this guy plays 18 minutes a night, he's a backup center. He's one of the best, if not the best, by-minute offensive rebounders in NBA history. I've seen him win games just off the strength of, you got to put two bodies on him. He gets an offensive rebound, he kicks out for a three. That was a huge cog in this New York Knicks offense. So much of this goes through Karl Towns and Jalen Brunson, but it was truly one of those team-wide efforts. Now you go to the Boston Celtics, where clearly they needed help in the front court. You don't know what's going to happen with Jaylen Brown, but I am fascinated to see where this all goes from here. Because, analytical freak, the analytics, the numbers, they love Mitchell Robinson, even if he's only going to play 15 to 20 minutes a night.
All right, we've got some more breaking news here on First Take. The Los Angeles Lakers are acquiring Walker Kessler from the Utah Jazz for unprotected first-round picks in 2031.
2027 first-round pick swap and a pair of second-round picks. Let's get the fellas back in here. Vince Goodwill joins me. Windy, Tim McMahon as well. Windy, we begin with you. Kawhi Leonard, does he make Toronto a serious title contender right now?
I do believe he's a serious contender in the Eastern Conference for sure. This is the first transaction that's happened in this cycle that has really, I think, changed the face of the NBA, changed the balance of power. Obviously, Giannis is a top 5 player in the league, and the Heat have potential. Their roster, in my view, isn't quite complete yet. Toronto is a team that I think is now very formidable. You add Kawhi Leonard, who had a brilliant season last year. Second team All-NBA. One of the best seasons, frankly, of his career. Arguably the best season he had as a Clipper. and add him to a Toronto team that is ascendant with Scotty Barnes, who is developing into one of the best young two-way players in the league. Another team, a team that has a lot of different dynamic to their roster. I think this now becomes a team that is instantaneously a top 3 team in the Eastern Conference. The most important thing they've got to do here is have Kawhi stay healthy. That is far and above, and that makes it very hard to be predictive in July. However, there is no doubt that the Toronto Raptors signaled their intention to rejoin the upper echelon of the Eastern Conference.
Played 58 games just twice in 7 years with the Clippers, so the health point is certainly one worth noting. Tim McMahon, as exciting as this can be right now, Kawhi spent 7 seasons with the Clippers. They won a grand total of 3 playoff series during that stretch. Is this move as impactful as it looks on the surface?
If Kawhi is healthy, they have arguably the best duo in the Eastern Conference. The ceiling has absolutely been raised to being a legitimate contender, but that is obviously a huge if. This is a high risk, high reward move. He did not come for cheap. I mean, forget about the players they gave up. The 2 unprotected picks, 2031, 2033. They're going to extend his contract. I'm sure it's going to be a massive number for a guy who's in his mid-30s, still an elite player, fills all the gaps for the Raptors in terms of a half-court creator, a playoff dominator, a closer. But again, there's so much risk with Kawhi because you don't know how often he's going to be on the floor, and you paid a massive cost to get him.
Vince, the hangover is probably still in effect for the Knicks, both literally and figuratively. And you're already watching multiple teams around the East arm up. Kawhi to Toronto, Giannis to Miami. Which move do you see as more impactful for the upcoming season?
For the upcoming season, maybe it's Kawhi because there's more of a fully formed roster in Toronto. Long term, you're looking at Giannis Antetokounmpo with the Miami Heat. Let's not sleep on Miami. We know that they can go get guys on the minimum. They've always found guys on the fringes of rosters that can help them. Remember, they went to the finals as an 8 seed where their best player was Jimmy Butler. Now your best player is still a top 5 player in Giannis. You just signed Tim Hardaway Jr. yesterday, one of the top 6 men in the league, one of the best 3-point shooters. You have a couple more signings like that, even without LeBron or the specter of LeBron. You are in the championship conversation. The same questions that you have about Kawhi Leonard and his health are the same questions that you have about Giannis and his health. So there is no team to me that stands above the other, but I'm not sure if the New York Knicks are afraid. They're just aware of everything right now.
While enjoying themselves on their off season. Windy, slide in here. Given what you've seen so far in Miami and what you've seen so far in Toronto, who's positioning themselves for a better run next season?
Yeah, if you look, the Heat, I know the Heat made a trade for Giannis, but it almost feels like it was a free agent signing because of how they had to hollow out so much of their front line and their roster depth. I really think that probably, and I underline probably because I can't predict what's going to happen in this offseason totally, that the Heat are probably going to be more effective and more built out in 27-28. That is where I would expect them. In 26-27, right now, I know what's going to be on the Raptors roster, and they even still have some levers that they can pull to improve this roster further if they want to. They still have first-round picks left to trade, and they have some expiring salary. So I'm interested in Toronto.